Today, I will explain what kind of drug charges you may be charged with in Japan. Drugs. Drug crimes are serious crimes, so even first-time offenders can be arrested. After arrest, they must be interrogated while in custody, and even first-time offenders are likely to be detained for a long period of time if a request for detention is made. If a person is not properly defended and is ultimately found guilty, even if the sentence is a fine, they will have a criminal record. Some people may wonder, why do people get caught when they are responsible for using and possessing drugs? Many people also mistakenly believe that celebrities are arrested for drug use because they are famous, and that if it is a first-time offender, they will be let off with just a light warning. However, controlled drugs cause physical and mental dependence and interfere with a healthy life as a human being. In addition, drug addicts who fall into hallucinations and delusions are at high risk of committing murder, robbery, serious traffic accidents, etc. So they are considered to be high risk for society as a whole. Taking these circumstances into consideration, whether they are celebrities or ordinary people, if they commit a drug crime, they will be subject to severe criminal punishment, even if it is a first-time offense. So, this time, we will explain in detail the following 5 important points related to drug crimes. Cannabis. Cannabis is a dangerous drug that can cause changes in perception, impaired learning ability, ataxia, mental disorders, lowered IQ, and drug dependency. The Cannabis Control Act stipulates regulations on cannabis, cannabis sativa L, and cannabis-related products. First, those who possess, receive, or transfer cannabis without permission are subject to imprisonment of up to 5 years. Those who possess, receive, or transfer cannabis for commercial purposes are subject to imprisonment of up to 7 years and a fine of up to 2 million yen. Attempted possession, receipt, or transfer of cannabis is also punishable. Next, those who cultivate, export, or import cannabis without permission are subject to imprisonment of up to 7 years. Those who cultivate, import, or export cannabis for commercial purposes are subject to an additional statutory penalty of imprisonment of up to 10 years and a fine of up to 3 million yen. There are also provisions for the punishment of attempted cultivation, export, and import of cannabis. The Cannabis Control Act stipulates that possession, acquisition, and transfer of cannabis are crimes, but cannabis use is not subject to punishment. This is because it is impossible to distinguish whether the cannabis component, THC, detected in the body by urine tests, etc., is derived from the mature stems and seeds of cannabis plants and their products, hemp textiles, hemp rope, shichimi pepper, etc., which are exempt from punishment under the Cannabis Control Act, or whether it is ingested from cannabis plants, which are prohibited under the Cannabis Control Act. Therefore, based on the reality that, if someone possesses cannabis, there is a high possibility that they are using cannabis as a drug, the legal structure is such that cannabis use is not punishable, and only possession, acquisition, and transfer are treated as criminal acts. Stimulants. Stimulants are central nervous system stimulants that act in the brain and are dangerous drugs with a high level of psychological dependence. The main substances subject to regulation are those that contain amphetamine or methamphetamine, which produce dramatic euphoria, hallucinations, and strong withdrawal symptoms. The Stimulants Control Act stipulates various regulations regarding the import, export, possession, manufacture, transfer, acquisition, and use of stimulants and stimulant raw materials. First, those who possess, acquire, or transfer stimulants without permission will be sentenced to imprisonment of up to 10 years. Those who possess, acquire, or transfer stimulants for commercial purposes will be sentenced to imprisonment of 1 year or more and a fine of up to 5 million yen. Second, the statutory penalty for using stimulants is imprisonment of up to 10 years. Unlike marijuana, the use of stimulants itself is punishable. Furthermore, those who export, import, or manufacture stimulants without permission will be sentenced to imprisonment of 1 year or more. The statutory penalty for exporting, importing, or manufacturing stimulants for profit is life imprisonment or imprisonment for 3 years or more, and a fine of up to 10 million yen. All of these acts are also punishable if attempted. Opium. Opium is a type of narcotic drug made by drying the alkaloid resin extracted from poppy seeds. It is a drug that leads to a debilitating state due to weakness and fatigue, and is highly addictive both physically and mentally, so it is regulated by the opium law. First, smoking opium or poppy straw is punishable by imprisonment of up to 7 years. Second, the statutory penalty for transferring, receiving, or possessing opium or poppy straw without permission is also imprisonment of up to 7 years. Transferring, receiving, or possessing opium for commercial purposes is punishable by imprisonment of 1 year to 10 years and a fine of up to 3 million yen. Furthermore, the statutory penalty for cultivating opium, collecting opium, and importing or exporting opium or opium is imprisonment of 1 year to 10 years. If the act is carried out for commercial purposes, the penalty is imprisonment of 1 year to 10 years. Poisons. Drug crimes include cases that are subject to regulation under the Poisonous and Deleterious Substances Control Act, commonly known as the Poisonous and Deleterious Substances Control Act. For example, paint thinner, whose main ingredient is toluene, is a highly addictive substance that induces severe intoxication and is therefore subject to punishment under the Poisonous and Deleterious Substances Control Act. For example, if a person carelessly ingests, inhales, or possesses with the intent to use a poison or deleterious substance, one that has a stimulating, hallucinogenic, or anesthetic effect, that is subject to regulation under the Poisonous and Deleterious Substances Control Act, the punishment will be up to 1 year in prison, or a fine of up to 500,000 yen, can be imposed simultaneously. Dangerous drugs. The regulations for so-called dangerous drugs, designated drugs, are set out in the Act on Ensuring Quality, Effectiveness, and Safety of Pharmaceuticals, Medical Devices, etc., commonly known as the PMD Act, formerly the Pharmaceutical Affairs Act. Designated drugs must not be manufactured, imported, sold, given, possessed, or acquired for purposes other than medical use. Violation of this rule is punishable by imprisonment of up to 3 years, or a fine of up to 3 million yen. Both can be imposed. In addition, the statutory penalty for engaging in these acts as a business is imprisonment of up to 3 years, or a fine of up to 3 million yen. Both can be imposed.